Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the CoreCast, where we highlight industry professionals from all different areas of the professional video industry. Today, we are very excited to have with us Russell MacLaughlin, a wildlife filmmaker. Russell, how are you doing today?
Hey, how's it going? Pretty good. Yeah, out in South Africa at the moment, and literally straight out of the field. We've been documenting lions for the last 2 weeks.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of what you do and what it's like being a wildlife filmmaker?
So I'm a wildlife filmmaker based in South Africa. I grew up in the northeastern parts of South Africa, where wildlife was all around us, completely surrounded by it. And it was at a very young age I wanted to become a wildlife filmmaker, and I didn't really know how to get into it. Years and years down the line, this is what I'm doing right now, and it's been one hell of a journey. I've been all over the world multiple times. I've seen things that always just blow me away, but it really is. It's just being out there in the wilderness. That's where it is for me. And I always say to people, like, being out there every day, regardless of how long the hours are, it's like a holiday for me. Just absolutely love it. It's an addiction.
So cool that you should do something that you really love and something you were really passionate about.
Yeah.
So, for someone like me, I mean, looking at what you do in your job, that's like so far out of my purview. I grew up in the suburbs, and thinking about being with wildlife all day long and getting to do that must be a really cool experience. So can you tell us a little bit about, what is it like to just be with those animals, be up and close with lions and polar bears and all these sort of animals?
Oh man, I had, just for example, lions. I absolutely love working with lions, and after spending a couple of years in India documenting leopards and tigers, came back here, and I can't tell you how much I miss lions. But went straight into a lion film, and it's one of these things that they tend to sleep a lot. And you can go the entire day without a lion moving 20 centimeters. So it's one of these really frustrating things that you got to deal with. But there are days that you just look back and you're like, wow. But I think patience is it definitely tests your patience working with big cats. But not to say that there's so much wildlife out there and there's so much to do, from underwater to jungles and forests and deserts, and every part of the world has got a different unique species. And I always have a bucket list, and my bucket list is animals, and what to see and do.
Do you have any animals on your bucket list that you haven't gotten to interact with yet?
I've got two left, and that's the snow leopard and the orca.
Wow. Well, best of luck. I hope you do get to cross those two off. That's really awesome.
I hope so too. It's definitely something that I would love to do, even if it's just a holiday. But I'd love to spend some time and document them with a camera, and just spend weeks and weeks on end just following them.
It's great. Now, you mentioned a little bit earlier, you were talking about the lions and how they sleep a lot, and it's sometimes difficult to kind of get the shot that you're looking for, and you're just kind of waiting for these animals sometimes. So is there, do you have anything you do while you're waiting, or how do you kind of deal with that when the shot's not perfectly there yet?
Yeah, it's a lot of waiting. Sometimes we will have someone that's with us, one of the local rangers or guides, or we're out by ourselves. Some of the places we work in are really remote, where you've got no signal, comms all day. You're just working on radios, so you got to really just sit back and relax and just wait for something to happen. But if you really wanted to, you could, whip out a Game Boy or something like that, and just pass time. But I've had one of my camera assistants. That was his thing to do, to pass time whilst we just sitting in the sun waiting for something to happen. So I thought it was a very good idea.
That's great. Now you're talking about being out there in the wild and then in the sun and the heat and everything. Tell me a little bit about the kind of equipment that you use and what's, I imagine you have to use pretty reliable equipment. So tell me a little bit about what kind of specifics you're using right now.
Yeah, so we film all our stuff on Red's Red cameras, so ranging from the Heliums to the Geminis to the Dragons, and really amazing. And obviously, with long lenses, we got serious telephoto lenses. We've always been on the core batteries, which have been fantastic, especially with the amount of traveling we've been doing. It's just been a definitely plus side of what we do, and traveling is a huge part of filmmaking, and if we can cut it down to something as light as possible, it really does work well. Luckily, where we're filming this, our current films are like so close by that we don't really have to travel too far. We're on location within 2 hours. So I must say, I hate airports, and when you're traveling with 30 plus cases, it's not ideal. But if I can narrow that down to 2 cases, then I'm really happy. But that's never the case. Yes. So my basic kit would be tele lenses, solid batteries, and we do everything on red cameras. So that pretty much sums it up, and obviously a solid tripod system. I definitely, a solid tripod system is something that goes a long way with us.
Very cool. So I have to ask, because this is the CoreCast, do you have a favorite Core SWX battery?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've got quite a few, but the Neo 9, the minis are just next level. I got them earlier this year. I was actually surprised. I was always using the previous ones, and I was in the States, and I saw them online, and got a bunch of them, brought them back, and I must say they've been pretty handy out in the field. We've been putting them through some harsh conditions already. Especially the heat out there can get a bit much, but it's definitely been my favorite ever since I got them, and prior to that with the previous models.
Right. Well, I mean, the Neo 9s are just such cool batteries, and they really have a lot of packed-in features. And if you out there watching the podcast want to get your own Neo 9 Mini, we're going to have a special deal for everyone watching. You can get 10% off all Neo 9 Mini batteries with the code CAST4 on our website. So let's get a little bit back to you, Russell, and your kind of experiences. I know that you're using this camera and you're kind of out there in the wild. Tell me a little bit about, is there ever a case where sometimes the animals will kind of interact with the equipment or anything like that?
Yeah, we've had a few incidents where, like filming wild dogs in Namibia, where it's a wild dog and curiosity just takes over, where I've had them pull cameras over, and it's not just an animal that you're going to go chase, because it is a wild dog, and I could tell you don't want one of those things biting you. But yeah, there's been places where, like, for example, in Madagascar, we've had the wild dogs are the greatest. Absolutely love them. But that's also just the wild dogs. They're just so curious. They, right. if you set a camera somewhere and you walk around the corner, they're gonna come investigate it. But yeah, places. That's why one of the places I thoroughly love in working in is Madagascar, and it's because the animals are just pretty much fearless of people there. Like it's like going back in time where they just, how would you say, they just they don't really care about you. You know, you're just an obstacle there. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And yeah, it's quite a surreal part of the world. Yeah. So we do have you know, times where animals definitely get a bit too close. And I had a moment a few days ago where we had a pair of lions, and the female came into estrus and very aggressive with the male. And we've got the filming doors. Our doors have been taken off the vehicle to get low angle shots, and this male lion decided to not approve of us parking over there, and he's busy chasing tail with this lady, this female lioness, and just came charging out at us and literally stopped, I would say, just over an arm's length from me.
Oh,
Could
wow.
pretty much smell his breath. It was not a pleasant moment. That I can tell you, your heart is racing at another level. It's like on heart attack mode. But yeah, like I said, like it is. You can get pretty close to them. I mean, the only thing that was separating myself and the lion was pretty much a camera.
Wow. Must have been a kind of a scary experience, I can imagine.
Yeah, it was. It's been a while since I've had a bit of a wake up call from a lion like that. I've had a few, you know, times where they've charged like that, but this one was particularly close, and you don't realize when you're sitting with no door, very low down to the ground, and an animal comes at you like that. You don't realize how big they are.
Right. Absolutely. Do you have anything that you're working on right now, Russell, that you want to tell all the people about right now?
We're currently busy with quite a few wildlife programs. One in particular, it's actually been ongoing for quite a while. A lion film with National Geographic. That's will probably wrap up at the end of this year. We started end of 2018. So, as you know, these wildlife films do take a lot of time to make. We got a couple that we've started with Netflix, and another series we're busy with Disney Plus, which is going to be really unique. And then one of the most exciting things, I must say, is Planet Earth 3, BBC's Planet Earth 3. So they're all going to be coming out in the near future. And yeah, I won't lie, really excited about all of them. Some exciting stuff there.
That's fantastic. So where can we follow you? Do you have an Instagram handle or something like that?
Yeah, I do. It's Russ_wildlife. Yeah, you'll mostly see wildlife shots from all over the place. And yeah, if you're following Nat Geo Wild's Instagram, you might pick up a few stuff on there. So it's all over.
Fantastic.
And yeah, like, I mean, there's behind the scenes stuff, so you might get to see some of that every now and then. But that's I'd say about 80% wildlife.
Very, very cool. And we want to remind our viewers one more time before we go about that coupon code. If you're just tuning in, you can get 10% off all Neo 9 batteries with the code CASTCAST4 on our website, coreswx.com. So one last question for you, Russ. Do you have any advice or any words of wisdom for anybody who might want to go into the wildlife filmmaking field?
I must say, you know, getting into the wildlife filmmaking field is definitely, you got to be seriously passionate about it. Your hours are long, your weeks are long, everything just goes on and on. It's there's no overtime. The animals don't get time off, so you don't get time off. You've got to be prepared to bite the bullet and go through it all. It is. It is. I'd say one of the most important things is also to learn animal behavior. Once you understand your subject, it becomes a lot easier to start filming, and anticipating the shot that you're going to be. You're not dealing with someone that is, where he's going to walk and what he's going to do and what he's going to say. The animals write their own scripts, and you just got to be prepared for every second that happens and unfolds in front of you, and sitting there with a camera to capture it all.
We actually just, believe it or not, if you have the time for it, we had a question came in that I'm curious about myself. I believe somebody asked, amazing to hear these experiences. Do you ever work with remote control systems at all in your work?
Yes, we do. We do a lot of gimbal-based stuff. It's definitely up the notch of wildlife filmmaking. Also, a lot of drone-based stuff. I must say, filming wildlife with gimbals, it definitely has changed the way we see it. It definitely creates some of the most breathtaking images one will see. I absolutely love working with that, and especially out in the field. When you get these shots and you just look back, you're like, wow, pretty damn stunning. Yes, we do, and it's definitely something I like. I have to have some remote control gimbal based stuff on every shoot. Some of the other stuff we do is remote camera trapping. That's a whole different ball game, where we'll set up cameras out for a couple of weeks in certain locations, and it's one of those things that can be so frustrating, but also so rewarding at the same time, because you think you've got a camera in the perfect place, and you go out and you check it, and you haven't got a single shot on it. But then you're like, you've got it in another location that isn't so great, and it's just got everything. So it really is. It's hit and miss, but like I say, it is insanely rewarding when it all comes together. And then other form of remote controlled stuff is obviously the drone work, and I must say, spending years working with wildlife and drones, I would say definitely better than following animals with a helicopter, which is unless you're shooting from a serious distance. It's quite amazing to see how animals quickly adapt to it, and where you're capturing absolute beautiful natural behavior, which is what you want. And over the years, we've definitely seen that. One of the films that has just come out on Disney Plus is a film called Elephant, where you can see a lot of that aerial work that we did on animals, and you can see how they react and behave to systems like that. So yes, to answer that question, there is a lot of remote control work on all forms. But yeah, if it's gimbal based, it's some of my favorite forms of filmmaking. I think this day and age, you've got to broaden everything and work on as much stuff, whether it's time lapses to drone work to long lens gimbal based work. Just have as much as you can have under your belt, and take it from there.
That's fantastic. It sounds like you do so many cool things with such cool equipment. And we want to remind everybody, you can follow Russ at Russ_wildlife, and check him out for all that really cool behind the scenes stuff. So thank you. We want to thank you so much, Russell, for coming on today. This was such a cool podcast. I learned so much about this world that I had no idea about. So thanks for coming on, and thanks to everybody out there on YouTube and Facebook for watching. I'm Sean with CoreSWX, and we will check you out on the next one.
Take care.